Jessica Andrade, man, bate estaca. She's back in the win column. TKO round 1 over Cynthia Calvillo, man. And the thing that we predicted in the pre-fight show basically came to fruition wholeheartedly right there, man. We said Calvillo is a little too accepting of being on the back foot, and Andrade, from the beginning of the fight, put her on the back foot, kept her there, big hooks, got the job done, man. What I want to know, not about Andrade, man. What does this tell you about Cynthia Calvillo, who has had back-to-back pretty disappointing performances? What does this tell you?
Man, it's an interesting question because a lot does tell you from her losses. You know, she really is accepting of the position, and sometimes being on the back foot, if you're a counter striker, it's not the worst place to be, especially if you have that head movement, that foot movement that can make the other striker miss and then counter on their misses. It just didn't look that way, man. And Cynthia Calvillo, she was really not scared, but didn't handle the pressure well. If that's there's a better word out there that I'm trying to find and I can't find it, but she looked a little accepting of what was going on and didn't necessarily look like she was, I don't know, excited to be there. That's not the exact way I'm trying to phrase it, but she really did have that like air taken out of her, I guess is the best way I'm trying to put it. She kind of felt the pressure of Andrade, and then it was like, all right, yeah, this is what's going on from then on, man. What do you think? What was your view on the fight?
Well, let me ask you real quick. Were you thinking maybe that she came out tentative or that she came out submissive, something like that, right?
Yeah, tentative. Tentative is a good word for it because she really didn't look like she saw her moments and wasn't able to capitalize on it. She was maybe seeing them, but just didn't have the necessary go to actually get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you right there, man. And the other part too that was kind of eye-opening is that after the fight, Cynthia Calvillo was all like, hey, it was always a dream and an honor to share the cage with you, Jessica Andrade. So I wonder if there's any of that starstruck nature in there, because right after she just got the brakes beaten off of her and stopped, she immediately hugged Andrade and was, you know what I mean? They had that embrace, which is like totally cool and all that, don't get me wrong. But then there's another element of the psyche of a fighter who says, get the fuck away from me. You just beat my ass. Like, I don't want, you know what I mean? Don't embrace me. None of that stuff, right? And then you see Andrade picked up Calvillo, and then Calvillo picked up Andrade after the fight. I don't know if they showed that on the camera or whatnot, but it was a little weird because you'll hear a lot of fighters say, hey, after you knock me out, please don't fucking lift me up. Like, that's even more embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? You just sunned me, basically. You just, you know, that anyways. So yeah, man, I think Calvillo, man, I don't know what's going on here, man. You know, she was working the jab to the body, but basically all she could do was strike defensively because she wasn't able to initiate the grappling, which is basically what we were saying. Like, this is the key to victory for Cynthia Calvillo. Now, I think that all that hype, man, that we was talking about, that Dana White gave her, where she was going to be a future champion, all that stuff, man, it's just like going all out the window. And don't get me wrong, Cynthia Calvillo is a hell of a fighter, man. She's a very, very great contender, in my opinion. I think she's legitimately she has the capacity to be great. I think it's about showing up come fight night. Jessica Andrade is a tough outing, though, AJ. I think we know this, right? And to see how Valentina made easy work of Andrade just goes to show how good Valentina is. So at this point right here, AJ, Jessica Andrade is her second win since moving up to flyweight. 4 of her last 5 wins have come via stoppage, knockout specifically. So let's flip it to Jessica Andrade, who says that she wants to fight the winner of Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas next, which then means moving back down to 115. Where do you think her future lies, AJ? At 115 or at 125?
Man, that's a good question. I would probably say 115. At least there's a less dominant champ at 115.
Yeah,
as
true.
much as I love Thug Rose, you know, she's beatable. Whereas it seems like Shevchenko is absolutely unbeatable,
Yeah.
and she could be fighting men, bro. She's an absolute killer out there. So I would probably say 115 if Jessica Andrade is smart. She's actually, you know, she's got that small package, but she hits like a damn freight train. So I think it'd be good for her to go back down. But Thug Rose is a hard match too. So is Weili Zhang. So was her, man. So if I was her coach, I'd probably say let's drop down to 115 unless we want to come, you know, do some real dedicated time to some wrestling, fighting, you know, different probably you need to start training with like legitimate men strikers and men who are able to get it done on the wrestling mat, because it's going to be a hard road to toll if you're fighting Shevchenko, man.
I agree, and that's what's interesting, right, is that I think Jessica Andrade could stand very well against the majority of the top 10, top 5 in the flyweight division. It's just the champ where it's like, all right, you really want to fight Shevchenko again? Like, really? Probably not, right? So that's just even telling, man. We're just talking about, this is just the greatness of Valentina Shevchenko on display right here. But I will say that Jessica Andrade going back down to 115, I think would be a little bit better too, in a way, and this is what I mean by that. If she's coming up to 125 and she's just knocking people the fuck out, you know what I mean? Not like knocking them out, but she's stopping Calvillo, right? She hit Chukagian with the body shot, man, had her in agony, right? Take that power back down to 115, or is it a little less power because you're depleting yourself a little bit more? Are you more of a submission artist at 115 as opposed to a knockout artist? I don't know. I think the future is bright for Jessica Andrade, man. She's still in her 20s, man. She's young. I believe she's in her 20s anyways. And the point that I have here is that, listen, it's just like that goes to show how good the top three are in both respective divisions, man. Because Jessica Andrade, man, she's absolutely no slouch. She proved it tonight, man. So let's move on to the next one, man, because that was a very big win by Andrade. But once again, not too crazy.